Hey Sue family, it's your girl Miravit Sue. Thank you for stopping by once again. In this video, I'll be taking you through the process of making this simple shift dress, and it is beginners friendly. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you once again for stopping by, and if you are a first time viewer, please do well to subscribe. So let's dive right into the making of this simple shift dress. So I folded my fabric into four right here, and this is going to serve as the front, and the one beneath it is going to serve as the back. I'll go ahead now to just draw out the line at which the length of my dress is going to take. So this is the line here. I'm just drawing it out. So it means that this is going to be the end of my dress. Okay, the remaining 1 inch below that line is just going to serve as a folding allowance. So from that line, I'll be taking the length of my shift dress. Okay, so you can just use any desired length of your choice if you want it longer or shorter. So for mine, I'm just using 42. So I'm marking right there 42. So I don't need to add up any more allowance as to the length because I already have some allowance below the line, which is going to serve as the folding allowance. I hope this makes sense. So I'm marking out that length, and then I'll go ahead to rule out that line. So I'll go ahead to cut out the excess spaces above my startup line because I won't be needing it anymore. So I'm just separating the front and the back. I'll be cutting it differently. This is because we'll be needing some sort of allowance for the front where the black bias you saw earlier would be sitting on. So you know the way you get to cut your outfit and you have something like a zipper allowance for the back. So now in this case, we'll be having a front allowance. Okay, so this is just what I am drafting out here, using 1.5 inches as the extra allowance. So from this line I have marked, I'll be taking my neckline. So the neck width I used was 3.5 and the neck depth I used was 6 inches deep. So it's a v-neck, and that is what I have marked. So the wider or the deeper you want your neckline to be, you can go ahead to make it even deeper. Next, I go in to take my shoulder measurement. You know how we take our shoulder measurement. Shoulder divided by 2, whatever you get, you put it. So because this dress is a cut together sleeve, you're not cutting the sleeve separately. I'll go ahead to just add up the sleeve length. So because this dress is a cut together sleeve, we are going to be adding the sleeve to the measurement. So from that point where I marked my shoulder measurement, I now added the length of my sleeve there. So the length of this sleeve I'm using is about 7 inches. So that's what I have marked. Next, I came down from the end of that sleeve to put the width of the sleeve, and I am using 8 inches wide sleeve. So it depends on your own measurement. You just take that. So I'm placing my tape again from the startup line to get my bust line and my hip line so that I'll be able to place up the measurement. Okay, so it is on those lines you're going to be placing your bust measurement and your hip measurement. So I'm just doing my countings to get it right. So the two lines I had marked is where I'll be putting my bust measurement. Now this is a shift dress, is not a fitted dress, so that's why I didn't need to take my waist measurement. So basically what I'm using here is just my bust and hip measurement because it's going to be a free dress. If it was a fitted dress, then I would need to take the waistline so that I'll have a fitted dress. So I'm not doing that. So right on the bust line, I'll be putting my bust measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches allowance. So for ease and for sewing allowance, then I'll just connect my sleeve to that point. Can you see? Because we are joining our sleeve to our dress, so it's just going to link up like so. So I'll go ahead now to put my hip measurement to connect the remaining part of the line. I will as well divide my hip measurement by 4 plus 2 inches allowance. Okay, if you want more ease on this dress, you can as well have even more allowance. Okay, so this is just for your own personal preference. So whatever you're using for your hip, you can just bring it down to the hem of your dress just so it is straight and not wider or too slim. It is not a fitted dress, neither is it an A-line dress. So you want to maintain whatever you have on your hip right at the hem of your dress, and that is what we have here. You can see it's just a straight dress and nothing fitted. So next I'll be cutting out my front neckline. So before you cut out, make sure you fold in the allowance so that it's not going to affect the neckline when you cut it, okay? Because if you leave it open and you cut out the neckline, it's going to short when you want to sew it. So ensure to fold it. I'll go ahead now to cut the remaining part of this fabric that will not be needing. So the neckline I was talking about, can you see the extra we have there? Just ignore it. It is necessary because if you cut it straight, it's going to affect. So now I'll introduce the back piece. You're going to be using the front to cut out the back. Okay. So I'll just place the front above the back piece and then fold in the allowance. Remember that was the allowance we'll be needing for the front to place our bias on. So the back will be having a zipper, so it means we still need a zipper allowance for the actual back. So placing the front, I'm not going to match it exactly to the side. I'll be leaving about 1.5 inches zipper allowance. Okay, and then here we have 1.5 inches. I'm just adjusting the front to make sure it matches. Next, I'll be marking my neck width. I'll still be maintaining the 3.5 inches width for the back neckline, and I'll be using 1 inches for the depth. Okay, so the back is going to be shallow than the front, so it's not going to be as deep as the front. I'm marking out the neckline like so. So 1 inches deep and 3.5 inches wide is what we're using for the back neckline. I'll go ahead to cut it out. So next, I'll just go ahead to slash through that zipper allowance. You know, it was folded and it has been in one piece all this while. So we're going to slash it to divide it, making it in two pieces. Okay, so that's the back. I'll be repeating same for the front. So this would mean me opening out this allowance we have here and slashing through this as well. So the style we are making would require us to do this. Otherwise, I would not have to go through this. But because we will need to add a bias to it and we can't achieve this without slashing open, we also will be having a slit in front of this dress, and the only way to achieve this is by doing this. So you're going to determine how long you want your slit to be. I'm just going to mark that from the hem of my dress and come up by 5 inches. So if you want your slit even longer, you can mark even more depending on how much you want to reveal on your legs. So I'm just marking 5 inches. So I'll be sewing, I'm closing down from the top to that point. Okay, so I will take it to the machine and sew on that point. So at this point I have done that. I've sewn from the top to that point. So this is how I'll be opening it up like so. I'm going to be folding it like so, folding in the rough edges to top stitch on both sides. Okay, so I'll take it to the machine to stitch it. Can you see how I'm arranging it? That's how you're going to arrange it and top stitch to the end. We are securing the rough edges. Then also I'll be closing my neckline with a bias. So I'll be doing that for the front neckline and the back neckline as well. So I'll be using a bias to turn the neckline over. At this point I had done that, and this is what we have here. You can see how neatly finished it looks, and the neckline as well. I've used the bias to turn it as well. So this is the front piece. This is what it looks like, and right here is our back pieces as well. I have turned the neckline. Remember, we'll be joining a zipper to the back, but before we do that, I'll be introducing the bias I will be using for the front. So the design you saw earlier on this dress, you're going to be using a bias that is about 1 inches wide. Okay, so this is a velvet bias. It comes in a row, and if you look closely you can just see I'm dragging it out from that row. Okay, so you're going to be top stitching this bias right on your dress, and before you do that you can decide to use a gum to first hold it down before top stitching, just so it is not difficult or challenging, or you can use a pin to hold it, whichever works for you. Okay, but on that v-neck area you're going to have a little struggle, so that's why you need to use a pin to hold it down. So on the both side is what you'll be doing. So I'm just doing the arrangement for you to see how you're going to be sewing it. So for your back pieces, we're going to be putting our zipper as well at this point, and I'm just placing my zipper right on it and then marking out the inches I had kept for my allowance, which was 1.5. So I'm marking out that line because I'll be stitching to close up that line. So I'm drawing a straight line, and right where my zipper is supposed to stop, I'll be marking about 2 inches from there because that's the point I will need to close up from. So that line will guide me when I'm putting my zipper, and I'll lift it up about 2 inches from that point and sew down to the hem of this dress. So I have done that for the front. Can you see what we have here? I've placed my bias on my center front, and this is my back as well. I have placed my zipper and I have closed the remaining part of the dress. So we're going to need to shape this dress. We're going to be placing right side facing right side. So for these rough edges, you need to do an overall overlock on it just so that it is hiding any frizz from the fabric. So I'll go ahead now to join my front and side by stitching the shoulders, and after that, this is what we have here. The next I'll be doing now is to add the bias to the hem of my sleeve. But before I do that, I'll be folding it about half inches, okay, just to hide that, secure the rough edges, okay. So I'll be folding it and then top stitching the bias like we did for the center front, like so, okay. So that folding is just to hide out all those frizz from it. When I was done, this is what we have. And next is to shape our garment, okay. So you can see how neatly finished that area looks, and I'll go ahead now to just shape my dress and fold the hem as well. So voila, here our dress is ready. I'm done shaping it, and this is what we have: a simple shift wear dress. So ensure to do an overall overlocking so to give it that neatly finished look. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this tutorial was simplified and beginners friendly. Please do well to subscribe to see more videos like this. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.